Have you ever noticed that the book of Ephesians is divided in half between the first half being theology and the second half being here's how to live it? I see a lot of times that in our minds, in our churches, in our culture, wherever it might be all of the three, we kind of flip it. We think of here's what you're supposed to do, here's what God approves of, here's what God does not approve of, being vigilant upon capturing our mindsets and our thoughts and conforming them to Christ, making sure that we're not continuing to follow into the bad habits and sins and transgressions and iniquities that we have continuously done up until our salvation. But we don't always remember that the first part that Paul's really focusing on in the book of Ephesians, I think, is the most important part. It's about who God is. It's about who you are. It's about worldview. It's about inheritance. It's about election. It's about breaking down the dividing wall of enmity between the two so that we can have one new man in Christ. He spends so much time and effort talking about our identity and who we are and that we're seated in heavenly places and really trying to reinforce what God is and how splendorous it is that He has done these things for us. And after laboring so much to try to give us even a glimpse to the grand place that we stand, then he turns and says, therefore, here's how to live. When you take the analogy of a tree, you put the seed in the ground and that seed starts to grow. You don't see the seed. It's in the ground. It's forming. And there's a formation process where it starts to become into itself. And eventually it'll break the ground and it'll sprout and you can see it. But there's no fruit. It's just a sprout. And it eventually grows, after a year, 2 years, 3 years. Sometimes it takes some time before it actually has anything you can harvest. Sometimes that first year or two, the fruit's not even good enough to eat. So you're essentially just pruning the tree so that it'll create better fruit in the next harvest or the harvest after that. The point is, if this is how we as humans also kind of grow, then the first steps should not be that we learn here we need to stop doing the sinful things. And instead, when people become Christian, when they get born again, they're going to have that conversion. They're going to want to do the things that God commands. Bearing fruit will be natural. What's more important is that we teach these new disciples who they are and help them in that formation process to really help them reinforce in themselves, in their subconscious and in their psyches. This is who I am now. I don't have to live like that. I am in freedom. It was just my thought for the day. What do you think?